Hello, every pony, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Captain Planet. I have a love-hate relationship with this show. I hate the preachiness. I hate the oversimplification of environmental issues, and as well as war issues, and so many of the other issues that they present into just simply, oh, we should just simply stop all this government stuff and all this industrial stuff. Okay, what about the people who work and the people? Oh, we should just go immediately for peace. Okay, what about the humans? How about their feelings? I hate the lack of creativity that everybody produces for the elements, that the writers gave the five for their elements. Shoot, we see how well you can work with the powers of Earth, Wind, Water, and Fire on Witch. And do you know what they did for a heart? You want to know what they did for a heart? First of all, they call heart quintessence. And not only do they call it quintessence, which means life, but they turn Will into a living lightning rod. Not only can she wield lightning like a boss, but she can also make machines come to life. Now, if I was doing Mati, I would give him a super powerful shield. I would give him the ability to heal wounds. I would turn him into a motherfracking anti-corruption device. You know, as you will. I hate the fact that in their attempts to try to make Wheeler the likable guy, they ended up making him the only one that spoke any sense to me and the only one I actually agreed with. Yeah, I found myself on Wheeler's side all the time. Merely because he was the only one that was trying to talk some sense. Hell, during an episode where they go into the Wild Wild West, Wheeler does the following things. Number one, he actually grabs them and pulls them into the time vortex when everybody was just standing around on their asses. Two, again, when they're all standing around their asses trying to think of how they're going to handle themselves, Wheeler immediately grabs some clothes and proceeds to try to integrate within Western society. And three, has probably one of the coolest, almost ready to shootouts ever. Sad it was ruined, but still. That was one, by the way, that is one of my top 5 favorite episodes. I put Zarm into a different category. I hate the fact that they got some really, really good voice work here, and you could tell that the actors were giving their all. However, they just were wasted here. I mean, come on. How can you have a show featuring the voices of LeVar Burton, Whoopi Goldberg, and Tim Curry and not expect me to actually say that the voice cast on here are awesome? I'm willing to bet you anything Ted Turner had blackmail material on every single one of these guys. I hate the fact that Captain Planet's weakness is the most useless thing out there. Like, good golly, how can you have a superhero who's designed to fight pollution have his weakness be pollution? Isn't that like saying that Superman has the mission to fight kryptonite and his weakness is still kryptonite? I hate the fact that they sometimes ruin a good idea by going back to the environmental message. However, I also do love the potential, the basic idea of it, and I love Wheeler, and I love the shipping between Wheeler and Linka. I mean, shoot, another one of my personal favorite episodes is the one where they proceed to go through Moscow because Linka wants to try to protect her brother, and we actually see what Russia really is like. We see how depressing the Soviet Union was. And while everybody else was busy trying to stop a fire, Wheeler was there in the skies trying to help Linka because he cared about her. I love those type of episodes. Oh, and anything with Arm. I do love the villains. Again, if this was directed by me, these villains would be deadly. But then again, you know me. If you've read my previous stories, you know how I love villains that like to work behind the scenes. So, what type of fic do I got planned for you that has some Captain Planet stuff? Why, allow me to show you. So please enjoy as we here at the Terryberry Memorial Library are proud to present The Final Fight by Flaming Sickle. Oh my god, it's a name on fanfiction.net. That's actually normal! What a shock! Final Fight by Flaming Sickle. Chapter 1. Planeteers, we have an eco-emergency. To the crystal chamber at once. Gaia's worried voice sounded across the pristine Hope Island, calling each of the Planeteers to drop whatever they were doing at once and hurry to view Planet Vision. The spirit of the earth was as the 5 young adults arrived at post-haste, and when they had all gathered, turned to their crystal-framed screen and waved their hand, activating it. "What's the problem, Gaia?" asked Wheeler, and what appeared to be an undisturbed nuclear power plant across the screen. Planeteers, from the outside, this planet may look fine, but what's going on inside, that's the trouble. Duke Nukem is trying to take over the building in an attempt to gain more energy from himself. You must go and stop him before he kills any of the scientists, or worse, causes a meltdown that would kill thousands and contaminate the surrounding area for years to come, sending a cloud of radioactivity drifting across the continent. Sierra Lee explained. Is this going to be that episode where Wheeler and Duke Nukem have a freaking beam duel together? What? That moment was awesome! The gun it, Gaia! Exclaimed Linka, and with that, the group ran out into their red and yellow painted geocruiser. Kwame climbed to the pilot seat and took off, as the others quickly found their own seats for the trip. In case anybody's wondering, before they say, powered by good vibes, solar power. Their ship is powered by solar power. So, leave it to the geek to answer that question. I'll go home now. Gee, sat down beside Kwame, buckled up and said, "These eco-villains, they never give up, do they?" "It would seem not," said Monty from the back of his seat. "The funny thing is, no matter what they do, they're never matched for us at Captain Planet." Wait. Did you just use your Tim Drake voice? Did you just use your rabbit voice? Sorry. Here, let me read that line again. "You'll seem not," said Monty from the back of his seat. "The funny thing is, no matter what they do, they're never a match for us at Captain Planet." "Oh, there you go again!" "Okay, who did I do this time?" "You used Danny." "Okay, I got this one. I got this." "It would seem." Grrr. "Sorry, boss." "Okay, I'll keep the that guy with the glasses references low. I promise." "Good, because if you make one single that guy with the glasses joke on this fic during the entire story, Tracy swears she will have Rainbow Dash electrocute you." "Alright, I got it. "It would seem not," said Marty from his seat in the back. "The funny thing is, no matter what they do, they are never a match for us at Captain Planet." "Yeah, you got that right," chuckled Wheeler, who was sitting beside Guy. "You'd think they learned the list by now." Lincoln turned to look at the ETA for Kwame's shoulder, and saw it would be about 10 minutes to get more to the site. She sat back down and sighed. "Just when I was at the best part of the book I was reading, too." Wheeler leaned over. "Don't worry, babe. We'll kick Nickel's butt and be back to Hope Island in no time. And you can finish it up. Just out of curiosity, what kind of book was it?" She looked over to him. "Well, if you must know, it was romance novel." "Romance, huh? Speaking of romance, you free Friday?" "Why do you ask?" asked Linka, knowing exactly why he was inquiring. "Well, it's just that if you are, then maybe you might want to go out on a date with me," he answered hopefully. Linka smiled. And what did you have in mind, Yankee? He leaned closer to her. I was thinking I could possibly take you to a movie, or dinner, or dancing. Dancing? Her eyes lit up as he nodded in response. I like to hear that. It is so deep. Yes! Cheered Wheeler as he pumped his arm into the air in excitement. Just then, Kwame announced, We're here. The Planeteers looked down at the planet below and saw scientists fleeing the building. Hurry and land, Kwame. Looks like you're in a lot of trouble, exclaimed Guy, who let out the geocruiser as the craft touched down. You guys better be cut your lucky stars. I was not bringing up the LeVar Burton impersonation for that one. And I gotta say, I love Kathy Susie. As the five exited, they could see the scientists, this is chapter 2, and workers climbing out of the building. As Kwame and Guy headed out protective lead suits to their fellow Planeteers, one scientist caught sight of the group and frantically ran up to them, grabbing onto Wheeler's jacket and crying, He's mad! He's going to cause a meltdown! There's no way to escape! Wheeler pried the hysterical man and took his lead suit off from Guy. Hey pal, don't worry. We're here to put Nukem out of business. You are? Oh, thank God. The man abruptly straightened up and grabbed Wheeler, who had only gotten one leg suit on, in a bear hug and nearly knocked them both over. Thank you! The Brooklyn Knight once again pushed the lab-coated scientist back as he fought to maintain his balance. But we can't help you if you get in our way, he said, chuckling while finishing getting on his suit. The scientist nodded and ran over to a small knot of co-workers. Now uninhibited, the Planeteers donned their helmets and put their rings back on over their gloves. Kwame picked up the Geiger counter, and he sprinted into the building. It was not hard to tell exactly where the radioactive hothead was currently causing its destruction. They ran through the wide corridors, interrupted by an occasional plant worker. The Geiger counter was constantly screeching its signal, indicating an overabundance of REMs in the vicinity. Knowing that its noise would alert Nukem of their presence, Kwame lifted it and switched it off. They slowed as he reached the corridor. Wheeler, who was in the lead, held up his hand, signaling the others to stay back, as he pieced around the edge to where Duke was unsuccessfully trying to punch his way through a thick, leaden door to the uranium rods contained within. Am I the only one who ever tried to figure out what Duke Nukem's origin was? I can't have been the only Planeteer fan. Wheeler turned back to his friends and told them what the mutant was doing. We need to distract him somehow, guys! Then what? Asked he. Then he looked around, spying a wrenched open door that he realized belonged to a large vault. I've got it, he said. If someone could just get his attention and lure Nukem into the vault, then I could shut the door and seal it with my ring. Then we could go Cap and work on patching the leaks. Kwame spoke up. It seems like a good plan. Who would get Nukem's attention, though? Linka raised her hand. I will go. Surprised, Wheeler turned to her. You sure you can handle him, babe? He frowned, showing his concern for his Russian friend, not very happy with the idea of her being the bait. She nodded, smiling in an attempt to elevate his worrying for her. If need be, I can use my ring to keep him back. Do not worry about me, Rita. So, that's settled then, said Guy. Kwame, Mati, and I will go make sure everyone is evacuated, just in case. Wheeler nodded. That's what I was about to suggest, Guy. All right, Linka and I will meet you guys outside. As the other three ran off, he turned back to face Linka. You sure? He asked once more. At her acknowledgement, he continued. All right, I'll stand behind the door where you won't be able to see me. Just be careful, babe. I don't want you to get hurt. If he said Nukem was still obsessed with the door, the mutant was pounding as he spoke, and slid deliberately behind an open one. Lincoln walked towards him. You just want to go on that date Friday. You know that's not true. I care about you. She gave a small knowing smile as he replied, I know. He turned to laugh and walked towards Nukem. Though he didn't like it, Wheeler forced himself to stay back out of the fight and merely listen to what was going on, consoling himself with the knowledge that she was not exactly defenseless due to her ring. Lincoln looked back for a second to make sure her American comrade was well hidden, and at the exact location of the vault's door, to face the raging monster. How did that there, Nukem? Duke spun around. What? Planet brats! Without hesitation, he snatched his fists up and fired a radioactive blast from his hand. Linka, not having expected such a fast reaction on his part, barely managed to avoid the beam and hastily backpedaled to the vault. Enraged, mostly by his inability to open the door to the planet's core, Duke charged after her. Wheeler nervously waited outside for Linka's return, every fiber of his being screaming with an instinctual urge to go and protect her. He cringed at the sound of heavy barrels being thrown across the room, prayed he wouldn't connect. Suddenly, an alarm began blaring on the console behind him. Lightning turned from white to an angry, flashing red. He spun around and looked at the screen as he heard Linka use her ring, followed shortly by another crash. The sound of Linka calling his name, Wheeler turned back, realizing that he had already gotten out while his attention had been directed on the cause of the alarm. He threw himself against the heavy door with all his might and pushed it shut. Backing out to give him some room, he shouted, "Fire!" He noticed just how hard he had to concentrate as he increased the power of his ring to fuse the metal solidly to his frame. Probably due to the radioactivity he's emitting, he thought, and he ran off after Linka when the door was fully sealed. She must be pretty far ahead, he realized, knowing that as he ran, the others seemed to have done a thorough job evacuating the building. When he finally reached the exit, he looked around a corner and saw where the other Planeteers had gathered. Kwame frowned as the redhead reached the group. "Where's Linka?" he asked. Wheeler was shocked. You mean she's not with you?" He became frantic as Kwame shook his head. He turned to Maite, asking, "When did you contact her? Make sure she's all right. She must have come out some other exit." This last bit he said hopefully. "What if she got lost inside?" He watched the doors anxiously as Maite tried to contact her. "Heart, it is difficult. All the radiation. She is inside. I feel panic. Fear. I have contact," Kiapo said excitedly, before telepathically talking to Linka. "Linka, where are you?" After a moment of silence, he exclaimed, "She is still inside the vault!" "What?" came Wheeler's shocked cry. "Inside?" He turned back to the building. "Wait, see! Ah!" Mati collapsed to the ground and curled up tightly, writhing in pain and agony, trying to break the telepathic link. "Yes, I can sense you all!" "Yes! That was so worth it!" Kwame knelt down beside his friend, concerned. "What is it, Mati?" Having finally managed to cut the connection, Mati sat up and started. It's Linka. She..." Wheeler fell to his knees. "No, no, no, Linka! What have I done?" He jumped up and began to run to the building, when suddenly there was a loud rumble. He stood in shock as the plant fell down on itself and fires erupted through the rubble. "Linka!" Lincoln ducked behind the lead barrel as he entered the vault, Nuka closing behind her. "I just need to get him in the far corner and then get out!" She yelled to dove out of the way as the barrels blasted away. "Come here, Blondie, and get what's coming to you." The yellow mutant angrily picked up a crate and threw it at Linka, who leapt clear in the nick of time. "Push more, and you must be quick," she told herself, not realizing that Nuken's blasts were hurting her to where she would have no escape. She hid behind a stack of lead plates and was looking for her next move, when she realized that she was trapped behind the plates. Her last line of defense to reflect the radiation would blast it away. Duke laughed and cracked his knuckles in anticipation. "Now you're mine," he said, and began advancing towards her with a now dented barrel in his hand. A new alarm could be learned as Linka raised her hand. "Wind!" She recalled, expecting a gust of air to push Duke to the wall. But the ring merely flickered briefly before dying altogether. Linka began to feel fear work its way into her mind as she looked down in realization. "The radiation," she thought. "It is too much!" She looked back up at her adversary, spying the incoming charge just in time. She flung herself to the floor as the projectile crashed over her head. "Vina!" She was scrambling up and running from the insane eco-villain, when she noticed a loud creak and slam. He turned to see that the door had been shut, and a red glow was now working its way along the edge, melting it and the frame together. "What is he doing?" she mumbled. Duke turned his attention back to her, grumbling malevolently. "Looks like the prior Planeteer just steal your pate, punk!" He suddenly let loose a barrage of gamma blasts that the panicked Russian was hard-pressed to avoid. She was contacted suddenly by Mati. "Linka, where are you?" she heard him say. "I am still in vault. I need... Ah!" She broke off to the backpedal out of the way of the blast that was half infrared and half gamma. "Delvina, I need help before..." She gave a blood-crying scream as one of the blasts connected dead center. Linka was thrown back as she felt the intense radiation eat through her once protective suit to her skin. She fell to the cold metal floor as the beam made away her body. A loud noise resounded across the room. A different kind of heat permeated the room, and her last thought was how much she loved Wheeler. And now for Chapter 4. The next day, when all the fires had been put out, the remaining Planeteers silently helped the emergency workers clear the rubble. Wheeler, for the most part, stayed off to the side in total shock over the events of the previous day. Meanwhile, the others were pulling debris from above where the vault had been.
Maybe she's still alive somehow,
Guy said helpfully. Kwame sung his head sadly. Mati reluctantly spoke up.
I do not think so, Guy. The pain I felt from her, there is no way she could have survived.
Here, he looked over at Wheeler, who was crying quietly into his hands. I just can't believe she is gone, Kwame grunted as he lifted another piece away. The reality is probably going to hit us hard when we get back to the island. Mati and T nodded as they pulled off another piece. As he tossed it aside, she noted a large hole in the ceiling of the vault the sheet metal had been covering.
Kwame, come quick!
She said, hurriedly took the light he handed her. As she turned it on and laid down to see, she could feel the heat rising up even through her suit.
This is like an oven,
she mused, not realizing the implications of that fact. She turned her beam to search the floor, seeing various scraps of lead littering the area. Then the white light fell upon a hulking, dark yellow figure curled up on the ground. All of Nuka's clothing had been burnt off, leaving black and charred marks in her wake on his pale, plated skin. Now gazed at the evoker. Guy nervously turned the flashlight onto a small finger slumped by the far wall. She gasped as she saw Linka's form. The entire chest and stomach of her suit had been burned away from Nuka's blast, as was most of her torso. What part of her face was visible through the darkened visor was reddened from having been baked by the intense heat. Guy had to fight back a wave of nausea as he quickly turned away from the sight of her lost comrade.
Guys, that look in there. She
shakily handed the light back to Kwame. We should tell Rita, and we should get Nukem and Linka out of there, said Kwame as he pocketed.
And we can let the emergency crews do that. I personally cannot handle it,
stated Mati as he walked over to his American friend. Wheeler did not look up as Mati sat down next to him.
Wheeler,
the Chiappo began. You found her. She's dead. Wheeler saw his friend nodding sadly out of the corner of his eyes. Fresh tears began anew. And it's all my fault. I killed her. If I hadn't turned away, if I hadn't been so stupid. I love her, Mati. And yet, because of me, she's dead. He fell to his knees. I killed her! He punched the rebel in sadness, frustration, and anger at himself what he'd done.
Wheeler, take it easy. You will damage your suit.
Mati cautioned. I don't care. I'm far enough from the radiation anyway. I don't even know if you can stand to look at me. I can't even stand to look at me. In fact, you know what? He ripped off his lead helmet and put his ring to the temple like a gun. Nice knowing you, Mati. Fuck off! Kwame, who had come up with G while the two had been talking, seen what Wheeler was doing, and tackled Wheeler to the ground. Rita, no! Kwame, let go! The young man struggled to Kwame's hip.
Wheeler, what are you doing?
Asked Rita frantically. Trying to end this miserable thing called my life! He knelt down beside Kwame and was pinning him down.
You know Linka would have wanted you to do that.
She is right, said Mati.
You know, I was still connected to her when she died. Her last thought was of you. How much she loved you still.
Mati, that's not exactly helping! Wheeler looked at him incredulously, tears in his eyes. He was about to say something when one of the emergency workers came up to them, talked quietly to Guy, and handed her something, walking away.
Let him out, Kwame.
The tall Planeteer nodded and stood up, offering Wheeler a hand. Wheeler stood solemnly and faced Guy as what she gave him to what the emergency worker handed her. He held it up and watched as Linka's ring sparkled in the light. At first glance unscathed, though undoubtedly contaminated with radiation, was indeed found to be true when Wheeler dropped his right hand to his side, bringing the ring close to the Geiger counter beside him that had been clicking softly before. Geiger counter suddenly screeched at the increased REMs. Wheeler sighed and put his helmet back on to protect his head. Great. Now this won't even work. Is there anything that's not messed up because of me?
Maybe Gaia can help. Come on, guys,
she said, in a slightly shaking voice. spoke the desire that had been lingering in the backs of their minds.
Let's go home. Wow, that was pretty sad. Well, time for the review.
Hold it, Trixie.
You see, there's something special about people who read these type of things. Sometimes you get so saddened by the work that you think there has to be another way. We brownies see this phenomenon when it comes to cupcakes. Some of us get so depressed or saddened by what happens in cupcakes that we write things like darkness and the light, etc., etc. So, does that mean this had a similar story? Why, yes. Somebody out there wrote a fanfic that will fix this. Now, come with me, because we're about to bring one of the two greatest time traveling heroes to save the day. Because I think we're going to need one. Wait, Doctor Who? No, but he would be useful. No. The other time traveling hero. The bright blue aura that enveloped Dr. Samuel Beckett.
Wait a second.
Stop the fic.
It just got awesome. Quarterly crossover!
Between these, dissolved to reveal an environment he felt too good to be true.
Normally, Sam would leap into firefights, romantic acts, space launches, and even the stresses of childbirth. This time, he found himself on a beautiful beach with a minicam in his right hand. Apparently, the film had just ran out. Sam's host has already pressed the rewind button on the machine. After watching the ocean scene in reverse for a second or two, Time Traveler pushed stop and began walking. Oh, if this is a dream, please don't let me wake up. Sam sighed, taking in the landscape and enjoying the gentle wind that swept over him. Soon, Sam had approached a series of huts and decided to enter one of them in order to get out of the sun. He never liked being in the path of the hot rays without sunscreen, and he didn't know if his alter ego had applied any before venturing outside. Not knowing which hut was his, he peeked inside the open windows, and one by one determined which one he was to enter. The first house, a bed with a pink floral bedspread, a dresser with brightly colored stuffed animals on it, and a desk with a computer displayed a screensaver showing birds in flight. I want to say that's Monty's, just because of the animals. The second window revealed a bed with a baby blue star pin spread, several posters showing ocean scenes, and a collection of snowball globes on the nightstand. The third hut was home to a gray spread, African tapestries on the walls, and some gardening manuals on the dresser. Oh, there's Kwami's. The fourth hut contained a head with Indian print spread, wildlife posters on the wall. Oh, there's Monty's. And an herb garden in a box underneath the opposite window.
Linka, what are you doing?
Asked an attractive blonde with bluish-gray eyes and a thick Russian accent. Oh boy. Thinking that time travel was possible in his own lifetime, Dr. Samuel Beckett went into the quantum accelerator and was forced into a time warp, waking up soon in a body that was not his own. Helpful by his friend Al, a hologram that only he could see and hear, Samuel Beckett finds himself leaping from body to body, setting right what was wrong, and hoping that the next leap would be the leap home. The dum bum 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 da da dum dum do 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 bum 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 da da quantum leap. Noticing the look of confusion worn by her companion, Linka tried to look directly at Sam.
If I did not know better, I would just say that you got lost.
Leaping at this opportunity to save face and find his own cabin, the leaper improvised. I got a little too much sun and I got turned around. I can't seem to find my hut. Guess that's what happens when you forget to wear sunglasses.
You lost your sunglasses the last time you went jet skiing. Come on, Yankee. I will help you find your way home.
When the pair reached the only hut that had not been checked, Sam politely asked if he could be alone so he could take a nap and recover from the touch of sunstroke he had claimed to have had. This hut had a bed with a yellow-striped bedspread, a computer displaying a screensaver that showed dancing flames, and a tall bookcase that was used in an entertainment center. When Lincoln stepped away, the time traveler closed himself in the room in order to settle in
and await the appearance of his holographic guide, Albert Calaviti. Curious to see what his current host looked like, Sam laid the minicam on top of the bookshelf and stepped into the bathroom. He braced himself while he was seeing the mirror. Many times he found the reflections of women, old or overweight men, or even a chimp. This time, however, he was pleasantly surprised to see he was replaced a handsome young man who had wavy red hair, piercing blue eyes, and a fair-skinned, freckled face. Admiral Al Calaviti had materialized on the beats. He began to reminisce about how many women he had taken for long, romantic walks along the shores. He lifted his multicolored hand link and ordered, "Goosey, girl, serve me on Sam." He then popped into the hut where Sam was sneaked up on his buddy. It was admiring reflected in the mirror. "With a face like that, you could be a regular chick, man, Dick," the hologram had commented as he cracked a childish smile. "Ow!" Sam spun around with a start, knocking a red plastic drinking cup from the counter. "Do you have to sneak up on me like that?" "Sorry, pal. Just couldn't resist." Al laughed, his dark eyes sparkling with a youthful look that was characteristic whenever he was one of his goofy, fun-loving moods. "I suppose you want to know why you're here." Seeing his partner's nod, he continued as he stepped to the bedroom. "Your name is Jesse Wheeler, and you're a planet. He went to side of his head link, which gave off a squeal, showing more LED characters. "You lucky dog. You're a planeteer. They're a group of environmentalists who travel around the world and fight to make Earth a better place to live. Sort of what you do, only they combat pollution instead of time traveling and changing lives one at a time. Man, they have one of those cool rings that control the elements of Earth and are used to call Captain Planet. Yours is fire. I always thought that was the best one." "Al, will you please tell me why I'm here?" Sam grunted in disgust. As more info scrolled across the tiny screen, the observer continued to read. "According to Ziggy, you're 27 years old. It's April 21st, 2002, and... Uh-oh. My God." "What is it, Al?" Sam cringed as he heard the vocal inflections that were stark in the expression on the hologram's face. "What happens? Sam, you're here to prevent a chain reaction that will put a permanent end to the Planeteers." "What do you mean?" Sam blurted out, not liking where he was hearing. "In about an hour, one of your, Wheeler's fellow Planeteers," consulted his handling for the name, "Linka Platifoka. I think I met her." He remembered as he strode to the open window. Looked at the blonde sitting outside of one of the other huts and reading a book. "She sure is beautiful." "Oh, boy," Al groaned. "Looks like you picked up some residuals from this Wheeler character." "Al, you said uh-oh. Does that mean something happens to her?" "I'm afraid so, Sam. She dies in a nuclear power plant that is ultimately destroyed by someone named Duke Nukem. Some nozzle that thrives on lethal doses of radiation like it's food." "That's impossible, Al," Sam interrupted. "How can anyone feed on radiation?" "Sam, how could anyone replace the body of somebody else and everybody sees them for what that is? And time travel." "I'm shutting up right now." "Thank you." "I don't know, Sam, but somehow this doofus does. Anyway, he attempts to get to the planet core, and when Linka tries to stop him, she dies trying to stop him." Sam guessed. "No, it's worse than that. Wheeler accidentally causes her death. Apparently, they come up with some sort of plan to trap Nukem in a lead vault, while they and Captain Planet work on cleaning up Nukem's mess. While the other Planeteers evacuate the building, Linka and Wheeler stay behind to execute the plan. Linka volunteers to lure Nukem into the vault, while Wheeler is supposed to make sure she gets out. Closes the door, seals him in." Tears began to well up in Al's dark brown eyes. "According to Ziggy, Wheeler has to stand in a hiding place where he can't see what's happening in the vault. He thinks Linka's already gotten out when he traps her in with Nukem," Sam sadly concluded, hanging his head. "Not long after that, the planet collapses and bursts into flames. A day later, Linka and Nukem's bodies are found in the rubble. The details are pretty gruesome. I don't think you want me to go there." Suddenly, a question popped into Sam's mind. "Al, how does Ziggy know the details of Linka's death? I mean, how does she know that Wheeler inadvertently causes it?" Al gulped before suddenly saying, "It's, in Wheeler's suicide note." "Suicide?" "He's going off himself in about 3 days. He leaves his note on Linka's bed, locks himself in his hut, and burns it to the ground while the others are at Linka's funeral."
My God, blames himself that much? Sam gasped as he walked onto the bed. Not only for Linka's death, Sam, but according to an emergency workers report, they're going to return for Linka's wing. It turns out it's permanently contaminated with radiation. Wheeler not only blames himself for the tragedy, but holds himself responsible for the destruction of the Wind Ring. Without it, they can't summon Captain Plant, not even if they are able to find someone to take over for Linka. What can I do to make sure that Linka stays alive, Wheeler doesn't kill himself, and that ring is not ruined? Sam asked, overwhelmed by the gravity of this leap and the dire consequences of the original history. This is original! Ziggy says that if Wheeler could see whether Linka's in the vault, there's a 92.5% chance he could escape, and he could still trap Nukem in there. Al answered, clearly spelling out how Sam could complete his mission and leap again. Al, I don't know how I could see what's going on better than Wheeler could have. I mean, if he was hiding in a certain spot, you'll have me. Al assured his companion. Biggs said that Wheeler passed out when he leaped in, and he's still not cold. He probably won't come to until just about time for you to leap out. Seems to happen a lot with our leapers. Al, I can never figure that out. It's weird. The story man digressed. When they conk out, they leap in and regain consciousness before going back. Ow! Sam interrupted impatiently, grabbing the pillow and swinging at the hologram. Shoo! You get to the point, please. Otherwise, Linka's going to die again, and nobody's leaving anywhere. I'll be able to stay in the imaging chamber throughout the entire leap, since Biggs probably won't need me in the waiting room. Sam decided he needed to meet his other Planeteers, so he fenced it out to start for a hut that was twice the size of the 5 residential huts he had already seen. In this building was a common area that reminded him of the dorm lounges he had seen while living on campus in MIT. In the kitchen era, a black man wearing African jewelry around his wrists and upper arms and neck was pouring some dressing on a salad he just made. Vida, would you like to share my salad? He offered, once he knows he was not alone in the room anymore. This is Kwame Shah. The observer nodded as he rapidly punched keys on his flaunting hand link. Comes from Africa and controls the Earth Power Ring. No thanks, Kwame. I just came in for a glass of water, the leaper improvised. Still got some scenes to shoot. He added, remembering that Wheeler had been filming the Warring Ocean and seagulls had flew over the blue waters. If that is what you want. Kwame sighed as he stirred the dressing so it covered every possible bite. Once he poured some ice water into a large, purple Coca-Cola tumbler. Sam snapped the lid onto the cup, plucked a straw to the top, and exited through the beats, with Al following close behind. Along the shore, an Asian girl with short black hair and an Indian boy wearing an armband adorned with feathers were working together to build a very impressive sandcastle. Al keyed in a couple of sequences on his gizmo and began. The cute little Asian girl is Ji Zhang. Just tell me who they are without any comments for the peanut gallery, hissed Sam while shooting Al a dirty look. She has the ring that controls water. The Indian is Mati Cuevas. He hails from the Amazon rainforest, and he has the ring that gives him the power of what they called heart. Sort of like telepathy. You mean like Counselor Troy on Star Trek? Sam attempted to make a comparison, so he could better understand the concept of telepathic powers, something he never really believed in. Leave it to you to bring Star Trek into this, Al blurted out, wanting to give his pal a good noogie, agreeing that Sam would never feel the annoying sensation. I don't know, guys. I just don't see Scott Bakula as a captain on any Star Trek show. Was that an Enterprise joke? Yes. You made an Enterprise joke. Yep. I thought we had better dignity than this! We do not, Trixie. We do not have better dignity than to make a Star Trek joke like that. Sam wanted to join Guy and Martin on the project, but something called him to stop in his tracks. It was a voice, but where it was coming from. Planeteers, we have an eco-emergency, the voice called out. To the crystal chamber at once. Just play dumb and act like you don't know what's going to happen. Al cued his partner, as both followed Guy and Martin into the crystal chamber. Sam stood with the other Planeteers and listened as Gaia, spirit of the Earth, unfolded the horrible scenario that he had already heard, minus Linka and Wheeler's death. Immediately, Sam and his temporary comrades danced for their geocruiser,
and took their seats in the plane's small cockpit. Again, Wheeler's residuals sent into the time traveler's seized memory, and he found himself talking to Linka, going on a date with him. To his great delight, she accepted. While Sam was asking for the date, and Connie was plotting the course for the planet, Al found himself on the back of the plane, reliving his old days as a Navy pilot. When the Planeteers landed at the nuclear power plant, the original history seemed to be repeating itself. The 5 ecto-activists donned radiation suits cautiously made their way inside. Once again, Wheeler and Sam and Linka ended up with the difficult job of getting Nukem out of the way, while Kwame, Key, and Mati evacuated any scientists who had not already fled the building. "Stay with her, Al," Sam ordered as he took Wheeler's designated hiding place. "Maybe I can't see what's happening to Linka, but you can. Tell me if she needs help, or if she gets out of the vault. I won't be able to change history without you. I'll stick to her like glue," the holographic man promised, before punching keys on his link and centering himself on Linka. Sam squirmed and visited his hiding place, unable to hear everything from Linka's initial conversation with Nukem to her skirmish with him in the vault. Several loud crashes caused the knots in Sam's stomach to tighten, and he felt his heart spring to his throat when Al bellowed, "Sam, get the hell in here! Nukem's got Linka trapped!" "You know, Sam, Nukem may be a jerk, but I gotta say, I really do enjoy his voice. I mean, such a really nice voice he's got." "Really, Al? You like his voice?" "Yeah, I don't know why. It's just that Duke Nukem's got a really good voice." Dean Stockwell played Duke Nukem. Yet again, Wheeler's resistance roared throughout Sam, and he barreled to the vault, screaming at the top of his lungs, "You're a dead man, Nukem! Nobody messes with my girl!" His lead suit should have hindered his physical efforts, however. The dive to save the Russian co-ed and a heartfelt vow to set everything right flowed throughout Sam's bloodstream, providing him with all the power he needed. Within a second, Sam jumped up and gave the element a karate kick that got him right in the chin. Then, at a speed that would magically appear as Wheeler apparently did. Therefore, he didn't have time to emit any radiation. Then, a lead plate, sent airborne by Sam's adrenaline-powered arms, made contact with Nukem's head, rendering him temporarily unconscious. "Vida!" was all a dazed Linka could say. "Come on, Linka!" Sam hollered. "We gotta get out of here before Nukem comes to." With that, he grabbed her and darted out the corridor. Furiously, Sam pushed the heavy door to the vault, but he doubted he could get to the bridge. The burst of energy that allowed him to conquer the malevolent mutant had faded, and he was feeling physically exhausted. Seeing her rescuer's condition, Linka raised her right fist and aimed it at the door. "Wind!" she burst out, focusing all her concentration on slamming the door. Nearly collapsing when the door escaped his hands, Sam awkwardly regained his stance and aimed his right fist at the space between the door and frame. And Linka could conjure up a gust of wind by saying wind. Maybe he could wield the doors from his pyro power. "Fire!" he bellowed, before a red beam shot up from the flowing crystal on Wheeler's ring. It took every ounce of Sam's mental energy to focus the entrance to the vault. "Sam!" Al popped out as he popped up beside the pair. "You did it! You changed history! That yellow nuts goes down the drain with a bullet. Linka and Wheeler go on to live long and productive lives, and even help to train the next generation of Planeteers. Get ready to—" Al's last sentence was interrupted by a rumbling sound that prompted him to strike more buttons on his link. "Uh-oh. Sam, the planet's going to blow in a few minutes. You better get out of here!" As difficult as it was to run in heavy radiation suits, Linka and Sam managed to escape the elevated building and unite with Mati, G, and Kwame. "Glad to see you are both safe," Gene said as her friends approached. "No time for small talk," Sam said. "I think the planet's going to blow." "We need a team beam," Linka shot back, ready to summon Captain Planet. Kwame raised his right fist. "Okay, you know what to say. You people who have been fans of Captain Planet have been waiting all of, let's see, 40-something minutes to say it. Let's do it. All together now. Then let our powers combine. Earth! Fire! Wind! Water! Heart!" A green, red, white, blue, and yellow beam speared through the air and met, forming a colorful swirl. All of a sudden, a thundercloud clapped,
and a blue man appeared in midair, calling, "By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!"
No sooner had the hero uttered these words when the neon blue aura surrounded Sam, allowing Wheeler to rejoin his fellow Planeteers and sending Sam into his next sleep, wherever and whenever that would be. Sam next found his eyes opening wide as a black boot came racing towards his head. Before he even had a chance to move, he got hit. When he finally regained vision, he could see a tall man in a blue suit with a orange and black mask standing over him. "Did you really think that you were in any position to beat me, boy?" Slade said with a smirk. Sam backed up as he watched Slade approach him slowly.
"Oh boy."
Review time. Okay, so this is going to be interesting, as once again, we're going to be stuck reviewing two fics. And I kind of got separate opinions and feelings about how these two fics work. The first one, yeah, I like the title that it was Final Fight. However, I personally feel like 4 chapters made this way, way too fast. It made it go by too quick, and we didn't have any chance to respond to any emotions. We didn't have time to let Linka's death sit in, or the gruesome of the horrific act actually just fill us. When you're trying to do a character death fic, we really need time to set this in, especially when it's dealing with an important character like this. We need time for us to adjust. We need time to feel what the characters are feeling. Otherwise, the character death is nothing more than just words on a screen. What I think is this fic's greatest failing is that we don't really feel any connection, any emotion with this death. It's just Planeteers find out that Duke Nukem attacking. Wheeler hits on Linka. And that's it. And Linka dies. There's nothing there. Heck, the ending just feels like it just walks off the cliff. I thought that when I didn't feel anything for this fic when I first read it was coming from me just not really comprehending the emotions or having to feel anything for the fic back in my old days of just looking up bad lemons and bad fics days, and of course looking up shipping. But now I really do see the problem with this story. It's too short. There's really nothing substantial about it. It feels like it's a cut episode, or it feels like there's been bits snipped off of it. Shoot. Even the cause of Linka's death feels really, really lackluster. Wheeler doesn't really check to make sure that Linka is there, doesn't check the vault, doesn't make sure she's out of the vault. He really makes that stupid of a mistake? Why? And then Linka doesn't try to move or use the wind powers to change things? Why? If there's one thing I can never truly stand, is that when a character's death comes from not because of the plot, but because of stupid actions, it doesn't feel like the author wanted to get too deep. Just boom, Linka's dead, and then just move on with their lives. It felt like the story was lacking something, lacking oomph. And oh yeah, of course, there's the quick suicide attempt, but nothing's followed up upon that. Luckily, this Leap for Linka story that follows it makes up for it. While I'm deducting points for certain grammar errors, including trying to rename Vault into Volt, and certain design errors of the story in general, it does feel like it ends the story. It makes it more complete. It actually makes it feel like there's actually something there. Heck, this worked so much so for the fic's favor that when I read this originally, back during the old days when I used to only look for ship fics, I thought that they were in the same chapter by the same author. Seriously, in my head, I thought this was the exact same story. That the author had this additional epilogue featuring Sam and Al going in saving the day. But apparently it's two different stories, including one that got cut off. Interesting, isn't it? How these things work in your memory, in your mind, in your memory when you see these things. I'm willing to bet you anything. If Starfleet were to put me to that little device of theirs that sees my past, it would go, "See, it is one story. This is how your past remembers it. See your past?" Then I would have to prove them wrong. Anyway, and of course, Sam and Al are awesome. Let's face it, it's hard to get Sam wrong. All you have to do is make sure he's a peppy, upbeat type of guy that really just wants to do the right thing. Make Al fun and hilarious and cool, and boom, you've really got a scenario that you can literally put these two in any universe and it would work. Anywhere in a DC, Marvel, Power Ranger story, you could put them there and it would work. Which is why I'm surprised that there aren't more Quantum Leap crossovers. Because there's really nothing you can't do with that idea. All you have to do is just say, Sam opened his eyes, woke up in the body of, oh, I don't know, Leo from Lost Galaxy. Then you just have to figure out why Sam needs to help one of the Rangers. And the best part is, it never really feels like Sam is dominating this team or dominating the Rangers because he's trying to fit in. You gotta love how they actually do try to make sure that Sam messes up and he changes. Which is why I've really gotta reread that whole entire Buffy Quantum Leap Supernatural crossover. Because let's not forget, first year I did this, we lost the recording. I gotta fix that. I also love how Sam went through and did this, even though he didn't really believe this, with a genuinely good heart and a desire to do what was right. This is, of course, sometimes all we really need is a chance to do what was right and to help out others. This is, of course, what Quantum Leap is all about. How did I suddenly turn this into my praise, instead of trying to praise the show that I'm reading about, into praising Quantum Leap? Very, very simple. If you would ever try to say, "Hey, our smart fruit user, what would you rather be watching today, Doctor Who, Babylon 5, or Quantum Leap?" This would be my answer. Get Lappy, set her up so she could play Babylon 5 on her. Get my other laptop so I could play Doctor Who on that one, and then on the big screen, play Quantum Leap. And then switch periodically. Because quite frankly, I can't really ever choose between them. Ever. Well, that was one busted. Thousands more to go. I'll see you next time.